Welcome to Ask Gwen, everyone. And today with me, I have Mandy. Now, the reason why I brought Mandy on is because I want. I have a family member um, who is actually on the keto diet, and I snuck into a Facebook group and I said, I'm looking for a guest who's an expert in the keto diet. I got so many responses. One of them was mayonnaise. I got a couple others, but I figured I would kick it off with Mandy first, and then I would see what the others respond. So we're going to have a couple different views on the keto diet, but my family member seems to like it, and it is working for her. So now I gotta figure out why people are so crazy about this keto diet. And so I'm not the expert. Mandy is, and we're going to talk about keto and we're going to talk about multi-level marketing related to keto. Actually, Mandy does that as well. So I just thought I would throw that in there as a caveat. But that won't be until the end of the episode. So you guys buckle up and let's learn about the keto diet together.
I love that. Thank you so much. I love how you just said the two worst things that people really hate, dieting and multi-level marketing, are the two things that I actually hated as well. So, and here we are, success in both. So I appreciate you having me on and just being able to have the opportunity to educate people, because I think that that's where, things get lost, or we have these preconceived notions or don't want to do something because of like what we think it is, right? Like no one really wants to start a diet. They're happy eating whatever they want. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, yes, that would be fair to say. And
Yep.
when and it happened to be my stepsister, you guys. I live with my stepmom and my stepsisters up here on the occasion. So she's up here more times than not. But when she walks in, the last time she came up here, she goes, I I'm on a I am on a diet. I need to stick to this diet. And I'm thinking, okay, you're about the same size as me. What diet are you on? She goes, keto. And I'm like, okay, now the journalist wants to learn more, and it's working for her, trust me. And I'm like, okay, now you have to eat cottage cheese and strawberries for breakfast because I watch her eat breakfast. And it's like, okay, what is this? So that's why I stuck into a Facebook group, you guys. I'm like, help me educate myself slash help me
Yeah.
educate my sister so she stays on this keto diet. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, now I have to say this that I interviewed a diet I interviewed a health coach who went against keto a couple months ago, and her name was Jan, and she went against keto, against the Atkins diet, and I'm like, well, keto's not the Atkins diet, so
Right.
trust me, my mom did the Atkins diet in the 90s, my biological mom. So I'm like, maybe a different perspective on keto would help. So
I
my
think you're gonna like. I think you're gonna like my perspective a lot.
okay, my first question to you is how, if someone wants to get on keto that's never dieted in their life, how do we start? How does a person start?
So the first and foremost thing before we even go into any of that, what I teach is a lot of mindset stuff, because we can't just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to do the keto diet because I'm sick and tired of not feeling well and being overweight. I know I need to diet. But instead of just being like, okay, Monday I'm going to do keto, here we go. And then by Thursday, 99% of people are face first into a pizza because they're frustrated and don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. So we need to establish what that why is first. And then once they establish, okay, I want to lose weight. Okay, cool. But why? Like, what about not losing weight is frustrating to you, and really getting to that core of it? Because at the end of the day, when every diet works, the reason why keto works so well is because it's protein, veggies, healthy, clean foods that you don't really need to be super calorie counting and things like that. You just have to pay attention to what you're specifically eating. But every diet works as long as you do it correctly and for a longer amount of time. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, that
Um,
makes sense.
so when somebody's really getting started, figure out your why first. Second of all, take responsibility for the education that you're consuming, because a lot of people just go into, I love Facebook groups. You and I met on a Facebook group, thank goodness. Me and Tiffany, the person who introduced us, met in a Facebook group. So I think Facebook groups are great for connection. They're horrible for education. So we really need to make sure that we're educating ourselves with true experts and do what feels right to you. There's a million and one ways to diet. There's a million and one ways to keto. There's a million and one ways to exercise. There's a million and one ways to do a million and one different things. So we need to establish really like what feels good to you. And I love the simplicity of the diet because it's meat, veggies, healthy fats. The method that I teach is KISS keto, keep it super simple keto. All keto really is eating meat. So proteins like chicken, fish, pork, seafood, beef, meat, and then veggies, low carb veggies, obviously, green leafy, asparagus, spinach, kale, those types of green beans, etc., vegetables, and then cooking it in a healthy fat, butter, olive oil, ghee, coconut oil, avocado oil, healthy oils for you, so that you're eating such a low carb amount that your body starts producing these things in your body called ketones. And when your body produces ketones, it actually runs on your body fat for fuel versus you doing a low calorie, low carb, low fat diet. You're never satisfied because you're doing low carb, low calorie, low fat diet. You're never satisfied. You don't get into ketosis because usually you're eating too much carbohydrate, even if it might be a little bit of a low carb. And what happens when your body goes into this therapeutic state of ketosis, meaning your body's producing its own ketones, then that's actually not only from a fat loss perspective amazing, that's only one side effect. The side effect from being in ketosis is appetite suppression, increased energy, focus, amazing like mental clarity, inflammation reduction inside of the body, which is the ultimate reason why I started on this journey, because I have inflammatory challenges through my entire life. And when I started I first and foremost drank an exogenous ketone, a pure therapeutic ketone. The first time I had ketones in my system, most people do not get into ketosis ever because of the way our diets are formed. However, if you go back into the paleo times, like think back into nature, caveman type times, people got into ketosis back then because they had to survive without food. So your body is very, very intelligent and very, very smart. We just need to fuel it properly so that it corrects itself, heals itself, and then operates correctly. Was that a good overview for you?
Yeah, that was a terrific overview for me and all my listeners. I mean, you're on an international podcast here, Mandy. So, all right. And you guys, listen to the experts. Don't Google keto. Don't Google keto like my sister did. She Googled it and it's like, okay, I want to try this. And I'm like, okay, now the journalist needs to do a little bit more research for you.
It's
You
very
Google
overwhelming.
keto.
The Google is so overwhelming. That's the number one thing that people come into my circle and either join my free Facebook group or just hit my messenger or whatever, send me DMs. They're like, I'm so overwhelmed. Where do I start? I'm like, just start, because we procrastinate as well, which is also a decision. But it's that simple. You don't need to mess good enough up for perfect. Just start. Eat and yes, there's tons of information online about the mechanics and beta hydroxybutyrate, which is a ketone, like all of the sciencey stuff. But what I do is I understand all of the sciencey stuff and then break it down so simple, because I don't think anyone really cares how it works. You don't go onto an airplane and pop into the cockpit and ask the pilot, hey, what's that lever do? Hey, what's that lever do? Hey, what's that lever do? No, you don't care. You just want to get to point A to point B as fast as possible in the most comfortable way you can, right? So you want to meat, veggies, healthy fats. It's that simple. It's just people not choosing to change their lifestyle and at least reduce down the amount of things that we're eating.
Yeah, exactly. So, I experienced a little bit of keto while my stepsister was up here, you guys, and
Hmm.
it's I experienced because she made me dinner one night, um, and she made myself and her mom dinner, and her mom is more of a plant-based eater too, and
Yeah.
that salmon that she made, I'm not kidding. I couldn't tell the difference between a keto salmon or a normal salmon. It
Yeah,
was
because you have to
delicious.
just, yep,
So
yep, it's just
you
seasoning.
just season it's just seasoning, you guys. And so for those of you who are scared off dieting, I don't think you should be anymore after this conversation. I Now, I'm not on the keto diet personally, but I support someone that is, and I'll eat anything you put in front of me. But watching her do it, I have to support what she's doing. Well, I don't have to, I want to. But um but I am amazed how simple it is, and you have all this stuff in your fridge. You just People haven't been eating right, and I am so used to what they call microbiotic cooking, which is similar to it's microbiotic cooking is um plant based
Yeah.
cooking, and it's
Mhm.
yeah, Mindy knows what it is. Mindy's speaking my language, and I grew up. My biological mom was a microbiotic cook. She served meat to myself and my dad, but at the same time, I prefer the veggies over the meat. I am so happy that I'm off meat, although although I do eat meat once in a while, but other than that, I eat veggies, although and I eat on the occasion I eat pizza. On the occasion I eat mac and cheese, but it's the organic mac and cheese, it's the
Yeah.
organic pizza. So on the occasion I do splurge, but it's all in all, keto is the best thing I have seen in my life. And if I could do it for myself, I would, because it's
Yeah.
all about eating healthy. And my goodness, since we're all in lockdown, we might as well eat healthy. And since it's a heck of a chore to go out nowadays with the mask
Yeah.
and everything else, we might as well eat healthy.
Oh, I agree. And it's really hard for everyone to blame, like, oh, the quarantine 15, because, like, you couldn't really go out anyway. So why are you choosing to buy junk at the grocery store?
Yeah,
I just,
again.
at the end of the day, what works best for you might not be best for someone else. And I always am so super supportive of people's dietary choices, because at the end of the day, it's just we're all individual, and like what works for one person might not work for someone else. And at the end of the day, I don't think that not eating pizza every once in a while is sustainable. And the problem with the keto diet, to truly get into a therapeutic state where you're losing weight and you're feeling the inflammation reduction and you're really healing your body from the inside out, the longer like you're on it, the longer you have healing power. Problem is you have to stay on it strictly for 6 weeks to get your body into what they call fat adaptation, meaning that your body's adapted to having ketones in its system. But the problem is people don't stick to that for 6 weeks, or they think just because they're creating ketones in their urine when they do a urine test that they're like in ketosis. There's a lot of different factors about it or that are involved, and people with autoimmune issues, metabolic issues, insulin resistance, et cetera. It's actually a lot longer than 6 weeks because you're metabolically challenged, and it's not their fault specifically. It's just that they just have an imbalance from poor diet, environmental choices that have been happening, you know? So it's just a lot better to drink pure therapeutic ketones while doing a meat, veggies, healthy fats diet to get the best of both worlds.
And can you explain that to my listeners? Because I'm used to eating on well, I'm not used to it. As I said, I support someone who does a keto diet, but could you please explain to my listeners what you mean by drinking keto? Because that may
Oh, yeah.
be easier for me than actually getting on the keto diet.
Oh, yeah. So I just want to set the expectation and understanding that, like, we can't just not change our diets at all. Some people think that they can just take a pill or drink a magic potion and not have to change anything. We can't just out-supplement our poor choices. So we do need to meet the product halfway. But what this does is, first and foremost, there's a bazillion and one ketone, exogenous ketones, meaning outside of the body, meaning you're consuming ketones, whereas endogenously, meaning your body's producing its own ketones. So we just want to clarify that. So there's a million and one different products on the market, but the company that I'm partnered with does amazing, amazing work. It literally changed my life. They're the only exact ketone on the market. So your body has no idea if you drank that ketone or if you produced it yourself. So the way I look at it is there's an easy way to get to the grocery store, aka you can get into the car, the vehicle, go to the store, and get there in very quick time, or you can take the long way and walk and have to walk not only to the store empty-handed, but then when you're done at the store, come home with all that luggage, right? That just sounds hectic. So what drinking ketones does is your body has no idea if you drink the appropriate one. So if you want more information on that, just send me a message. But you have to drink the right one, and your body has no idea if you drank that ketone and then you get all the benefits from the diet within 50 minutes, or if you're doing the diet for 6 or 8 weeks. So you're getting those instant results while doing the diet not so aggressively, allows you a little bit of flexibility. You're still going to see results while you're drinking ketones as well as doing the diet. Did that
Okay,
make sense?
so it's a combination of both, you guys. It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
And so, Mandy, if you were in, let's say, my shoes, what would you
Mm-hmm.
recommend that I do first? The keto eating or the keto drinking?
So yeah, you're like a lot of people. I would suggest a little the combination of just being of both, and then also understand that the power of ketones. So for me personally, like drinking ketones, I tried for 10 years diet alone. So there's a lot of stigma, or some coaches or people that are just not educated on drinking exogenous ketones would talk crap or negatively about not being able to do the diet. And I personally feel like, why should you white knuckle your life? Like, if you have a tool and technology available to you to get you further faster, why would you not drink it? So I tried for 10 years alone to mitigate my inflammatory issues. I've had 5 surgeries in 2 years. My knees replaced at 28. I get a little emotional when I talk about it still. I was in a really dark place, and when I drank these ketones, it literally turned my life around within one packet. So I was able to walk down the stairs one foot in front of the other within one packet, and I wasn't able to do that for 10 years. So there's people like you and I that may not need to lose weight, but we still need the power of having ketones in our system for a cognitive benefit. There's study after study after study. So the keto diet is great. It's been around since the 1920s. It's just not really that sustainable in a life that we live in this world with carbs. So I think it's a twofold approach. One, have one meal that's limited carbohydrates, meat, veggies, healthy fats, and then another meal, whatever you want. And then make sure that you're drinking ketones every single day, at least 1 or 2 times a day. What I really start people out on is if they're really not really willing to change their diet, if they're really not willing to do anything at all, at the very least, they should drink ketones. We have a 10-day drink your ketones challenge that you can drink ketones twice a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and then you'll be able to, for 10 days, experience what it's like to have ketones in your system for 10 days without having to do the diet. But then what happens is, and what happened in my situation was like, okay, well, I feel really good. Within 5 days, I felt amazing. I was like, well, if this is really what it is, I really need to do the diet too, because I really need to be like healing my body. And I ate nachos while I was drinking ketones. I ate cookies while I was drinking ketones. I had some cocktails because it was football season when I was drinking ketones, and I felt really, really, really amazing, even though I was eating poorly. Then once I started drinking ketones and then got after like the 5, 6, 7 day mark, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the diet. I made that decision by myself without even thinking about it for 7 days, because you're so jazzed up about having ketones in your system. You're like, okay, I have energy now. I feel really good. Can you imagine how amazing you'll feel if you do the diet as well? So that's kind of where I start people, because I proved that the ketones worked for a while, and then they're like, okay, well, I'm willing to do the diet. And they don't have to be super crazy. They can do, like I said, meat, veggies, healthy fats, one meal, and then another meal, whatever they want. And then they can do intermittent fasting to skip breakfast or whatever, which is most people do anyway, because when you're in ketosis, your appetite suppresses. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but hopefully that helps. I just get
No,
super
that
fired up.
helped. That helped me. And you know what, you guys, I may consider the keto diet after I finish one project, which you guys know about, um, because I'm going to get healthier no matter what I do. So was
Love
it
that.
ketones or was it some sort of other diet? And I think it's going to be ketones because I have seen the results of ketone, the keto diet with my own 2 eyes because I support someone who's on it. And I
Hmm.
just wanted to bring Mandy on to say that a diet is a diet is a diet, but here's one that you can do in quarantine, in your lifestyle, in everyday life. It doesn't have to be a big ordeal.
Hmm. Exactly. The diet drama is so annoying. It
The
doesn't have to be
diet drama
dramatic.
is. The diet drama is. And I am happy to say that I may be considering keto myself when I get this project done, which you guys know about if you guys have been following me. I am in the process of selling my house, but once I get to the other end, I may consider keto because for cerebral palsy, not necessarily for the diet purposes because I'm skinny, but for the lack of for the more energy purposes and for the less swollen bones purposes. Because of my CP, I get swelling very, very easily. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I may have to consider keto. But Mandy, as we wrap this interview up, number one, where can people find you? Number two, do you have any questions for me?
I don't have any questions for you. I think you're just a statement pretty much. You're an amazing, amazing person with an amazing story, and I appreciate all the work you're doing to educate and, just give people different perspectives based on their life challenges and things like that. I think it's a beautiful thing. So I relate to you so much, and I also just appreciate the work you're doing because it's important work. And then people can find me you can join my free keto group, and we keto burrito. There's no keto police. We do everything, and the mission of our group is to leave people better than when we found them and create magical moments for them and just be supportive and stuff like that. So you can join my free Facebook group at ketoclubwithmandy.com. And then you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at More Mandy P. And then I also have a podcast called More with Mandy.
Okay, so maybe you guys need to listen to Mandy's podcast here to figure out the keto diet, because the keto diet, as I said, is something I'm looking into, but I have to wait until this project is over so I can really focus on my house. But one of the things I'm going to do is really focus on my health just because I need to. I need to. There's no questions about that. And I might be getting diagnosed with another disability, which is no big deal. It's just common factor. I might be getting diagnosed with asthma in the next couple months here. But if that happens, I'm definitely looking at my options now so I can control lovely asthma attacks with living healthier, because if I get asthma, I am my mother's daughter, and of course, my I know that microbiotic cooking works for me to begin with, but it may have to be changed a little bit to microbiotic cooking slash keto, because I don't really want asthma to be flaring up. Even though I have it, I don't really want asthma to be flaring up. And even though I'm potentially getting diagnosed with it, I'm doing my research now, because when I meet with the doctors, I want to know what I can do to prevent asthma attacks and all that good stuff. So even if you're not into the diet aspect, you should look into keto just for the energy effects and for the healthy lifestyle.
Amen. I love that.
And into that. And I appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate you guys paying attention and joining me on this journey. And I will catch you guys later. Bye, you guys.
Bye.